Kicking off the Tinker Day. Man, I got home to no snow. Wonderful. But I do have several dead batteries. There's a dead battery in this. There's a dead battery in this S60. Probably a dead battery in that wagon over there. So I got at least 4 dead batteries. I'm going to start by putting Panthers on the charger. Get that charged all the way up. Then I'm going to charge this one all the way up. Then I'm going to test that one, probably charge that one all the way up. So let's start with Panther. Panther also need a hood cable repair. I got home with a trailer on the car. And man, that thing sat a day before I got that trailer unloaded. But I finally got that unloaded. I need to change the oil on Lemonade. It's got about 8,000 miles on the oil. I think I've had to add 3 quarts. So I'm adding a quart every, I don't know, 23 to 2,500 miles on it. So that's a situation where the valves themselves are probably bleeding and need to rebuild the cylinder head on that. So let's grab this battery out of Panther and probably get the hood switched over and get the hood cable replaced and change the oil. Not sure if that'll knock out my day for Super Bowl Sunday, but we'll see if I got anything else going on or have any more time to do anything else. I moved that at 60. Man, that thing had low coolant reservoir because it was leaking. As I was filling it up, it was pouring out the back of the engine. So I sure hope that is somehow coming out of that water pump and not nowhere else. That would be a mess if there's something else bad on that engine, like a blown head or something. I can't imagine it having a blown head bad enough to leak coolant out of it and not have a misfire. So got my fingers crossed on that because it runs smooth, no misfires. So hopefully that's the water pump. We got a water pump ordered. Going to get that in hopefully within the next day or two and replace that probably after my quick trip to Terre Haute. I'm gonna help David. He's got a heated and cooled garage, so that's good. I also got people looking for R seats, so let me see what my R seat situation is and go from there. Look like I also have low tire pressure here, so I did move this one not far, just about 2 blocks, but let me air up these tires. And I'm going to rotate the tire on Lemonade because this front tire is getting worn pretty low. Winter tire. And the back one looks like it's got more tread on it. So I'm going to get this back one up to the front. I think that's better for takeoff and stopping traction. Got that battery on the charger. And now I found one that's already charged up. It's got 613 cold cranking amps, 12.51 volts. I'm gonna drop this one in Panther. No need dropping that battery in until I have that hood cable installed. So I'm gonna do it right here since traffic's light. I'm gonna go ahead and put up my triangle and get this thing fed through there. I got it taped together. Gorilla tape, hopefully it'll pull through. Let's go outside and start pulling. I could spray that with some silicone just to make it a little easier, but I'm not. Got it all loose up here. It's the fatter of the 3 things. I got a cruise control vacuum, I got a boost vacuum, and then I got this. So, and there's my busted transmission. Son of a gun, the tape came loose. I started to think that wasn't gonna make it. I should have went inside and pushed it out. So let me go inside and push this thing in, so hopefully it'll come through. Yeah, it was started, so it came through pretty easy. I did have to lift it up with this screwdriver to get it past my ABS stuff there. So I also need to get it through this zip tie here. So let me do that. Pull it on in here and put the clips on it. I'm gonna get the clips off of that one. Got 2 sets of clips holding the vacuum lines. I got it connected there. Got it taped together there because the clips broke. I got it clipped together there. I got it under that zip tie there. It's going in the car. And I pulled this one out with the tip of the knife. Massage it out of there. And I got it in there. And I spun the nut on the back of there, screwing it toward the firewall until I had this like barely any slack in the handle. So now I'm gonna go test it out. Throw this latch here. That didn't sound good. I'm gonna put some WD on that. Throw this latch here. And I'm gonna go in and pull the handle. See if they both open. Do. Before I close the hood. And I'm gonna swap the hood out anyway. Man, that was a tight pull. That one is open. And this one's open because my screwdriver disappeared. Yeah. And I'm gonna spray those with WD-40. Man, that did not move far at all. That handle. I'm gonna give that a little bit of slack so it can move a little bit. I don't like it being that tight. They both popped, but it is a little tight, so I'm gonna lube those up. Probably should be lubed once a year anyway, and call it a day. Got it all back together. Oil's fine, coolant's fine. All I need to do now is swap this hood. So I'm about to get help doing that. And I'm about to change the oil on this one. I got the oil changed, the hood swapped over, the squirter's connected. Now I'm going to try to replace this mount. That one, if it's torn, it looks like it is. And the cruise control pump. The most important thing to me is the cruise control pump. This doesn't look like it's totally torn out yet, so I'm not too worried about that. But I would like to get the Volvo mount in here so that quit sliding around. Let me grab my cruise control pump and replace this thing. This one is lazy. It only works in cold weather. In this video, I'm going to replace the cruise control pump on my Volvo 850. Mine is, I guess, what I would call lazy. When I got the car, it worked fine. And then it quit working above 90 degrees. Then it quit working properly above 80 degrees. Then it quit working properly above 70 degrees. Now it doesn't work properly above 60 degrees. And what I mean by that is I can set the cruise at 70 and it may or may not engage. But I did notice not too long ago that I could let go of the gas pedal and the car will go from 70 and it'll hold like a 52 mile an hour cruise instead of 70 where it was set. If I set it at 60, it might hold the cruise at 45. But if it's cold outside, it'll hold the cruise wherever I set it. So I think the pump is getting hot. When the pump warms up, it quits working properly, so it needs cold weather. So I pulled one off of a car in the salvage yard. This is it. And in this video, I'm gonna replace that. First thing you do is turn the car off, disconnect the battery, remove the ground from the battery, remove the positive from the battery, pull the clip out, the battery clip, which is there, and then remove the battery. Usually your battery is removed by 10 millimeter. This one has a different end on the positive, which is very common with these cars and preferred. And that's a 13 millimeter boxed in. After that, you remove these two screws, which are 12 millimeter. They're held in there, holding the battery tray down. Next, you remove this 8 millimeter screw that holds the bracket in the pump. So this pump is hooked under the tray like that, and that 8 millimeter goes in there. Now, if you want, you could do it two different ways, but you could reach under here pull the pump out from under the battery tray and just let it drop. You can also remove that vacuum line there, and you may be able to reach under the car if it didn't have the belly air guide on it like mine doesn't, and unplug it there. It has a wire harness plugged in there, but to make sure I get it unplugged good and plug it in right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the battery tray, which is done by simply sliding it toward the passenger side and unhooking it out of those holes there. Make sure those grommets stay there, or that you put them back before you put the battery tray back in. Those grommets help stop the tray from scratching up the paint on the car. Oftentimes you have a clamp on the corner of the battery tray there. That's normally a 10mm, and that's screwed in right there on your battery tray. Now I have full access to this pump. I can unplug the harness there, unplug the vacuum there, and swap over my other pump that I have. I like the condition of my bracket better. It's not have any rust on it, so I'm gonna swap this over to that one. Get rid of that rusty one. The screws holding the bracket to the pump are T25s. Next, I'm gonna plug in the pump. I'm gonna be especially careful with this plug here. It has these kind of rubber grommets that sometimes come loose from this connector and they slide out. This one looks good, but sometimes those rubber pieces are rotted out and they may not make good connection on your pump. So make sure you do that. This was actually hard getting that off, so I put a screwdriver in that hole and helped push that connector off. Then you hook your vacuum line up there and hook it back on the bottom of the battery tray and install the battery tray. That's how that connector should look when it is all the way in. You could push on those wires just to double check. Hook up the vacuum line. I just noticed that I don't have the proper box top on there, so I'm going to swap that over. Once you hook your battery back up, it is perfectly fine to put some kind of battery post-treatment spray on there or some petroleum jelly. Do not, I repeat, do not pour Coca-Cola on your battery. I don't know who started that back in the 50s, but they were selling Coca-Cola. I'm going to replace my box top, and I'm going to replace the mass airflow sensor because I think this mass airflow sensor is a little bad, causing me to have some issues with gas mileage. So we'll see how that goes for me. Air filter is not too bad. It was changed about 7 months ago, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a run, and I'm gonna vacuum this dirt up out of here though. Man, this dirt built up in here crazy. I cannot find my torque mount tool, so I'm not putting that in, and that hose was absolutely the hardest one to get off and back on. Normally they're easier getting on. Anyway, got my turbo back. Now I'm going to go put a couple straps on my back seats that been broken. Done in here for now. Hope that cat doesn't go back in my garage and in the back of my car. This cat is curious. A common thing I see broken on these Volvo 850s is the rear seat lift releases. And when you're releasing the seat to lift it up, you're supposed to pull this straight up. And when you do that, the strap pulls it up. But some people are pulling them toward the door, and that's breaking them. So I got one here. I'm going to replace it with real quick. Got out of salvage yard. I'm not sure if you can get these new or not, but if so, that's the part number there. 6818313 maybe. I'll confirm that and put it in the description area of the video. But basically, you take these two screws loose. Let me do that real quick. Probably don't want to use a power tool to do this unless you are extremely skilled with power tools without breaking stuff. Then you pull that loose there. Now you come over here, you push this in, and that will eject that out so you can easily thread the old one off and the new one on. I usually roll it down like that, and then I could slide it through that slit. Get the new one on position like that. Tuck the tip of it in there like that, and then snug your 2 screws in there. You only need to snug them, don't need to be tight. And there you have it, it's installed. And like I said, when you pull it up, it pulls that in to release the seat from the floor. I normally just jerk them up, they work better. Now I see a little difference here. This one's off of 850 and it's vinyl and or leather. I'm not sure if that will pull out of there or not, but this one here is material. So if you want to keep your leather, you could just pull this out of here like this and keep your leather. So let me pull that off and keep my leather. And I'm all done. And there's my oil change sticker reminder, compliments of my boy John Ward. Whoop whoop. Man, it's dark out here. I'm gonna tap out and call it a night. Pick up a couple things in the morning and head out of town. Let me pick up my triangle before I forget it. Heck, I didn't realize this was Volvo. Whoop whoop. In this video, I'm about to replace a sink kit to stop the sink from leaking. There's a couple different ways a sink faucet could leak. One way, it could be dripping hot water. It could be it can be leaking cold water out of here. Or when you're using it, it could be leaking water down the backside through this barrel here of the sink faucet. And that's what's going on here. We run water and it leaks out along there like that. So we're going to take it apart and replace the entire kit that we purchased here. This is a Delta faucet, so we got a Delta faucet repair kit. You know what kind of faucet you have because it has the name of it there. Now a lot of your faucets like Delta and a couple others, they have a lifetime warranty, so you can actually contact the company and they'll send you a free repair kit. But if you don't like going through that, you go to the store, buy a kit for yours. Now this kit came with 2 different sizes. It came with long springs and long seals, short springs with short seals. It came with this, and the tool to do the job, and 2 sets of barrel gaskets, large and small. So that'll normally cover most of your sinks. Next, you want to take your Allen and put it in there and loosen this handle screw. Mine was very tight. Put it in there like that and turn it counterclockwise. This is how you loosen it this way. Next, you unscrew this. You could do it by hand or you may need a tool to do it. Adjustable jaw wrench, needle nose pliers, a plumbing tool that gets over there, pipe wrench. You want to avoid using a pipe wrench because you don't want to mess up your finish on your thing. Next, you're going to take the neck off, twist it and pull it up off of that piece there. I would suggest using a wire brush or something to scrape this calcium off of there. Maybe a Scotch-Brite pad scrubber like we got here. And then remove the 2 seals. You got a seal here and you got a seal here. And the kit comes with those seals. Use a tiny screwdriver or a pick or something to get this seal out of here. And get this lower one out of here too. Match the seals up and put them on. Both of mine are larger seals. And again, you could clean this out with a brush or wire brush. Make sure it's all cleaned out. And you could put petroleum jelly on these seals to help them seal better. Get both seals on where they belong. Wipe this out and massage this back down over there, making sure you don't pinch the seals. So work that down over there, all the way down. There it is. Work this, make sure it's all the way down where you can't see that white vinyl gasket. And you can see the shoulder of this here. That's all the way down. Next, you put the matching springs in the hole, matching the ones that came out of it. Mine had short ones in it. Then you put the 2 gaskets in there on top of those springs. Massage them into those holes. The fat part of the spring goes down and the narrow part goes up. Work those seals in there on top of them. Like that. Put your new ball on there. It has a key there that goes into the key. And the flat part comes forward. That's where your screw is going to go on to screw your handle on. Then you put your new gasket on there. Then you put this new cap on that. And it's keyed to that slot over there. And when you screw it in, it's going to push down like that. Now you take this, you can clean that off and screw that down on there. You can use a tool, but I did mine by hand and it came off by hand. Now to get mine started, I slid my finger through there and I pushed this down, held it in, make sure the key was in, and then I used my other hand to start screwing it down. So it's screwed down pretty good, but it looks like I'm going to have to screw it the rest of the way down with a tool. Adjustable jaw wrench is probably best. Some of these kits come with a tool with a little V hook on there that you hook in there and twist them around that way. So that's another way to tighten them. And then you can put an adjustable jaw wrench on it that way. And you want to screw that till this closes that gap there. You don't want a gap there. So there it is. I got it screwed down as far as I could. Now you want to put the handle on there. Man, this thing is hard to move without the handle. I may have to loosen that up a little bit. When you tighten this down, if you can't move this with your hand, it's probably too tight. So let me go ahead and put the knob back on it. Put the knob back on nice and tight. Take your hot cold plug, put it back in there over your screw. Then press this on there and you'll be done. Now, you want to go back under your sink. Make sure your knob is to off. Mine falls a little bit crooked to the off. Not sure why. We're going to turn the hot water and the cold water back on with the shut off valves. Those 2 valves. Now when I use the sink, water shouldn't leak around the sides of it. There it is. No leakage. This is hot. This is cold. And that's off. Good to go. Kicking off the Tinker Day. This is a nice example of an 850R with a tan interior that was stolen from somebody. This thing, nice. About to do a headliner job in it. Let's get cracking. Ooh, man. Under this hood looks clean. Shouldn't let Meet see this. She's gonna be wanting me to start working on the cleanness of lemonade even more than I did yesterday. Got the material loose. Had a win and a loss. The win is I got this out in one piece. The loss was the A pillar was cemented to the windshield. This car had a windshield put on it at one time. The A-pillar was cemented to it. Couldn't get it loose. And of course, it's old, it's plastic, and it cracked. So me just trying to fix that while I continue to get this headliner material out. When you have this headliner down, don't forget to clean these temp motors. And I got one of these toothpicks with the little bristles on it like a Christmas tree. I'm gonna hook my vacuum up there, and if it doesn't get all of it out, I'm gonna run this in there and brush those springs a little bit. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you how to work on a 850 if you have the situation, which I consider as a pandemic right now, where the back doors will not open from the inside or out. It's not happening to the front doors, it's happening to the back doors. Although some of the front doors are not opening from the inside, I already got a video for that. That video will also fix these back door issues. However, if the back door issue goes beyond being able to be opened from the outside, you gotta unjam it. Again, this is an issue where the back doors are not opening from the inside or out. And the main problem is that the latching system has a rod, a little 4 or 5 inch rod that connects to mechanism inside the latch, and that gets jammed. I'll show you in the video when this top piece and the bottom piece lose their connection because that rod comes out of a grommet. The grommets are, I think, poly. That poly disintegrates. The rod finally falls out. And then this top mechanism drops down in a certain way that it locks where you can't even unlock the door. See there? You can lock and unlock the door. When this gets jammed, you can't even unlock the door. The door is locked. Won't come unlocked. Don't even try, because I broke one of these trying to get it unlocked, and I noticed a few other people had broke these too trying to pull it unlocked. It gets in the lock position, this top mechanism drops down, it jams that. You can't unlock it, and you can't open the door from the inside and out. So what you need to do is pull the back seat out, then you can access pulling this panel off, then you can access the latch mechanism behind that little white guard there. You pull that guard out, you'll see that latching mechanism. Then you need to unjam the latch and then hook that rod back up with these spacers that the part number is in the comments about. Now, I didn't try to hook that up and then free it. I freed it before I tried to hook that together. So you can possibly put the bushing in the top piece, put the bushing in the bottom piece, hook the rod in together, and then move the mechanism to see if you can operate your door. However, I couldn't do that, and I didn't try to do that. What I did was took the piece of mechanism, the top piece that was hanging down, I moved it up and out of the way, and then I bumped a piece of metal in the latch mechanism, which unlocked the door. Again, you may be able to hook that rod up and just move it to get the door unlocked. I moved that piece up out of the way and then got the door unlocked. You may be able to move that piece up out of the way and then unlock the door by that. I don't know if I tried that. I just bumped the piece. So move that piece up, then try to lock and unlock the door. If that works, great. If it don't work, then you'll have to bump this piece of metal that I'll show you in the video. Man, we are getting better and better at this every time. Ain't that right, baby? Yep. I tell you, she has more words than that. Need some parts off of this thing, let us know. Whoop, whoop. Well, we are looking for bugs. Caught one trying to come into the room here. Huh? Looking for a switch. Switch for what? Right here. This don't have a box spring. They have bugs under it. A little bit of issues with the cleanliness of the room. We got stuff there. We got a spot over here, which maybe could be paint. Tiles don't quite look folded in here. Somebody's hair there. I really don't like that thing being there. So, got this bug here that we killed coming in the door. We're gonna back out of this room. We have been relocated. Now we're wiping down this room and checking for cleanliness. Do. Do what? Alright, we're a little better off here. Probably the same cleaning woman though. Back at it, folks. Kicking off the morning. Gonna finish putting this headliner in and check my to-do list. Move on to the next task at hand. And we got that ceiling trim up in one piece. Last one I put up a crack latching on right there, but this one I kind of massaged it with a massaging motion and it clipped on without breaking. So we are good to go, other than this A-pillar right here that we still have under construction. The lights work and the sun visors work. Whoop, whoop. Next up, this little beauty here. Man, this thing needs a windshield. Good Lord. We're gonna have to get a windshield out of one of these other cars for him. See how this windshield looks. It is a Volvo windshield, made in Sweden. I don't see the date on it, so it may have been replaced. Oh, it says 97, so it's original windshield. VIP thing here. It has the original vinyl piece up there, it looks like. No, it looks like this windshield may have been replaced at one time. Yeah, that's the original vinyl. Let's see if it has any cracks in it. Man, I don't see any damage on this windshield. Couple little tiny chips. It's got a chip there that could be repaired. See from the inside here. Do. That looks like the only one, really. Let me go check that other car they have outside. Time to swap out the steering wheel to put in the correct one. Man, that's a nice leather steering wheel right there. A little bit of wear up there, but that is nothing. Now this is the correct steering wheel for the car. As you can see, the seats have been cleaned, even though they need some repair. Got some wear on it. I ain't never seen a R seat wore like that, but hey, this car has a lot of miles on it. I don't know the correct mileage, but we could check it. We won't hook up the scanner and check the mileage. Besides that, I don't know if you guys know it, but you could get leather dye to restore the color on steering wheels like this. Any color steering wheel, matter of fact. So let's go ahead and swap out the steering wheel, read the mileage, and pass that on to David. Got the R steering wheel installed. That screw hole was busted. Get that one installed. The 2 screws was missing from this top. I think I have some in my spare. So let me get those installed. Hold that down. And we also cleared the SRS light. See what else we need to do on this vehicle. Well, this is why somebody busted the top trim. I'm gonna see if that car outside has one, or try to epoxy this one back. Clean the dirt and grime off with oil eater. Looks like brand new. The thing I like about oil eater, you can dilute it down for just cleaning dirt off of stuff versus doing heavy grease cleaning. You can see right there where I didn't clean as far down as I should have. Anyway, time to get the sunroof trim in here. Whoop, whoop. We got a whole sunroof trim. Yes, sir. Unbroken. Another one. Had several climate control error codes. I cleared them. Started the car. This one's the only one that came back. And I feel the blower motor running with the system in the off position. It's with my Volvo system tester. Anytime you remove a part you don't plan on putting back in right away, it's a good idea to store the screws in the hole where they came out at. This car is all done. Time to take a lunch break. Time to play car shuffle and get the yellow one in here. The checklist for this one is the headliner, a power steering leak, a SRS light, and a clock spring, which that clock spring may be tied into the SRS light. So let's get this headliner out and go from there. It's the headliner out of that yellow sedan. As you can see, someone did this headliner, recovered it once before. They overlapped areas. This may be a bad situation. Looks like the new headliner material is losing its foam. I don't know if that means it's 10 years old or 5 years old. At any rate, if there's too much glue residue or whatnot on the other side of this, we're probably not going to be able to use it and have a good result finish. So let me strip this down and see what we're going to be left with, if we can use this board or if we're going to have to get another one, which we do have access. Whoop, whoop. Excuse me, sir. This is the officer. Please step away from the headliner and the material along with the glue. Set it all down and slowly back away from the vehicle. You know, the only crime in really mucking something up and not doing it right is fine, as long as you never want it right again. Because if you want it right again, it's going to cost you more. Can somebody say, oh my God, this looked like a bad skin disease? Let's get with it. Yeah, this doesn't come off easy. You could probably pick this off and sand it, and maybe you could get this board to where it'll look good, but we got a couple of holes in the surface. That's not going to work. Not sure how they got in there. And we got a lot of glue texture in here. Now, if you use headliner material with very thick foam, you may not see that, which that's what was used. I'm not sure how old it was. We don't have record of that. But there's be a lot of pattern in new material, especially with the material we have with the thin foam. We have the stuff with the thin foam from Hobby Lobby. We got a damage up here and some glue gobs in there. It'd take a lot to get this usable. We're going to go with the backup board. Here we are at the contributor. I won't call it a donor car because it's not a donor. This is a nice little manual. But we can borrow the headliner out of this one because it needs to be done as well. With the door panel removed, as you can see, the bar is missing from here to there. If you grab this top bar and pull it down, the door will open. That's what opens the door. But with that bar down, the lock will not lock or unlock. So you're in a fix. If you take this piece and push it all the way up, as far as you'll push it till it stops, now you can unlock the door and open it from the outside with the handle. But it won't open from the inside. When you pull this, it pulls that other latch down, which will open the door from the inside. So that's how you get the door open. And now you put a bushing in there, that top piece, put a bushing in here, hook that metal rod together, and the door will be totally working again. Got my backup board out, ready to strip it down. All cleaned up, ready for the material application. Clocking out, got this material done. Man, it was tough, but it turned out nice. We're out for the day. Here we go, folks. Gonna try to finish up with this one today. Got the headliner and all of that jazz, and let's get cracking. We already did the headliner, so I need to cut it out. Then I need to pull the sunroof out and strip down the shade. So let me go ahead and do that. We got the sunshade out, ready to strip it down. Material was loose from the backside, and we got to recover it. Another lesson for the learner. This MCC headliner board did not have the hole for the ECC temp sensor. So I cut a hole in that board that don't need to be in it, and I had to make one for this board. Woo woo. Just did the sunshade for a 850 sunroof shade. You have to roll the material over here and trim it. So I taped along here and sprayed a good amount of contact glue down there, headliner glue. Then when I rolled the material up over there, I tucked it down there and cut it with a razor blade. On this side, you cut along here. This part doesn't get headliner material, so around the edges you do the edge, the sides, but not the part that has the latch. So that needs to be trimmed off, which is a little difficult to do, but you can pull the old material off. This needs to be cut around here and trimmed along there for your latches. This needs to be cut off, and you do want material along the side. It's a little difficult to do. You could take these off, but you could probably use the old material for a pattern. But again, you want it up the sides, but not in those areas. And then this is the corner that gets tucked over. Now you got the handle that you need to cut out here. So cut that out. Don't make a mess of it. Edge it with your fingernail or blade or something. And cut that out. So I'm gonna keep pressing around these sides. I don't want that stuff to come loose. Cut off these frays. The little pull handle for this slide shade has little slits in there where there's clamps that grab hold of that. So be aware of that. I'm not sure which part of this goes forward, what part's back. I'm gonna assume this is the forward edge. Maybe the fatter edge is the forward edge. sits on an angle, so yeah, I'm assuming it goes in this way. Yeah, this thing has an angle. This is the front edge toward the front of the car. The thin edge is toward the back of the car. Did a little car shuffling and got lemonade in here. When I get done with everything, I'm gonna rotate the tires on lemonade. I don't know what that is. Look like some nasty bird poop. Man, that's horrible. But I got 3 cars over here, and man, I think 4 will fit over here. A lot of space here. So your side panels over here are supported by that piece there and this here. And on this side, mine had broken. It goes in the wall like that, and it supports the floor like that. I thought my floor was broken. Well, these pieces just slide into the body. So to remove your old broken one, you reach in there, you push this forward, and it'll fall out. To install this one, you reach up there, put it in the hole, slide it backwards, and it locks in place, and you'll have your support back. Here's the part number for this. I don't see a part number. I see 1882. I doubt that's the part number, but we'll figure that out. Ethan decided to clean out the rear of the car down here in the wheel storage area and found a bunch of blue fluid there. I couldn't figure out what it was. I thought it might have been some coolant leak down in there, but the hose off of the rear wiper had shrunk, pulled loose from that stem, and was spraying under the floor. So we got to get a piece of vacuum hose for that. One of the things a lot of vehicles suffer with is low density reverse lights. Put the reverse lights on and you still can't see what's going on behind you. It's like the reverse lights just tell the people behind you that you're reversing. Well, my buddy Arian hooked me up with these LEDs, so we're going to see the difference on the shine of these reverse lights right here and right now. There you have it, even in the daylight. This bulb is shining like that. That bulb is shining kind of yellowish. And I'm gonna show you the difference at night with my 2 vehicles. That's the difference seeing it in the daytime. And that's the difference of what the bulbs look like. And this is what they look like when they're illuminated. You get all those little lights around the sides and the one in the middle. Headed to lunch. I am back. Time to get this car together so we can press on with life. Got the clock spring off of that 94 out there. This thing looks perfect. No broken mounts, which is very rare. Don't forget to clean out your temp sensor vents. This look pretty clean, but I'm gonna hit a vacuum on them anyway. Let me see if the other one looks good. Man, the other one looks clear too. I don't know why he's got an air coat. I'm gonna take them down and make sure they move. Both of these are pretty clean, and they both spun pretty easily by hand. But he said he had a code for them. I'm not sure why. We'll have to check that out more another day. Look like this thing has had a windshield. I see where the headliner was stuck to it. It's got a Volvo windshield. I don't see a date on it. If it was 95, it would say 95, so it's been replaced at some point. I might trim this. Now I'm gonna leave that gasket material there, but that's a lot of gasket material, kind of extra there. Well, I'm glad the A-pillar wasn't stuck to it anyway. If you have somebody going to do a windshield, it may not be a bad idea to remove your A-pillars. Now, notice here, this clip is good, this clip is good, that clip is good, but the next one is broken. So you want to check these. If you got a broken one, replace it if you can get the parts. I replaced 2 of them. I got them out of that V70 wagon that's about to go to the crusher. Knocked off about an hour ago, just chilling, about to head to the hotel. Got to come back, finish this up tomorrow. But I got the headliner done. I just have to finish this steering wheel stuff, clear the code for that, and then check a couple more things on here, and we'll be good to go. Maybe not quite a half day tomorrow. Time to get cracking. Hopefully finish this thing up in a few hours. Yesterday, I pulled the sunroof so we could change the sunshade, finished the headliner, did a few other bits in this thing, and we're working on the steering wheel so that he could have a clock spring working in this thing, and just doing one thing at a time. And man, some of this stuff is actually time consuming. It's kind of frustrating. Mita and I was going over and updating the bill on this thing. We try to do that every day when we're at a location, work out the hours and expenses and helping somebody so that we can let them know daily where they sit bill wise, because you know, we know that we're usually not dealing with people with very deep pockets, and we're all on a budget trying to make things work, and at the same time people are trying to make sure they have a good running car, and sometimes a nice car that fulfills their personal needs of having something special going on in their life, which is a lot of case with some of these cars like this. Left yesterday installing this steering wheel, so let's finish with that real quick. Next up, we are going to replace this relay here, which is an alarm system relay. I'm not sure if that's just the alarm or also with the central locking. It's right up under here. That's the old style one there, 210, 211. This is a newer one. I think this actually makes your lights flash when you activate it. So let's go ahead and swap that out, see how it works. It was pretty hard for me to get this out, gripping it with my fingers, so I used a small pry bar to get that thing out. I stuck the tip of the pry bar under it like that and pried on the fuse panel, and it popped right out. Quick and easy. I'm pretty sure we already tested that relay and made sure it worked. So that's locked. I seen the lights flash. All the locks went down. I'm going to go around, see if any of the doors will open, and then I'm going to pull the lock knob up and see if the alarm goes off. Sometimes these things won't even arm with the hood open, but those latches are open, and it armed anyway, and it looks like it is plugged in, so maybe it works. This is supposed to be hooked into this little connector there. Maybe it was moved out of the way to get the battery in and out. But anyway, let's open the door, see if the alarm goes off, and if so, we're going to close the door, cycle the key. The flasher should flash, and the horn should beep intermittently. The alarm horn is actually up here. Should have a little knob on it, but it does have the front disc on it that allows it to make noise. So let's pull this up. Sometimes just pulling this alarm and open the door. It does work. Unlocking the door resets the alarm. So you can do it with the key or the fob. But you get a solid light there letting you know that it has been activated until a car starts. Read and clear the code with the OBD1 port B5. Now let's start the car and see if the ABS light or SRS light stays clear. Problem keeping that door chime for me. SRS light is still lit, so I don't think that cleared the code, and we have some codes there. Let me grab my scanner and see if there's some other code for a airbag. We still have an SRS light, so I'm going to scan it with my Volvo scanner and see if I could help it that way. I have a Volvo scanning tool, VST, Volvo system tester, that was designed to troubleshoot these vehicles. So let's see if this will scan it and tell us what's wrong with it and clear this code if we don't have a problem still. Having problems getting these codes to clear, so I decided to go get another one of these box reader gadgets out of my parts car that he has out there, or out of the parts car he has out there. And then I learned that this thing has been rebuilt. Looks like it's got a lot of new connectors on there. Not sure if all these wires are in the right place, but I could check that looking at my vehicle. And it looks like the ground wire had a broken lead. Heck, I'm having, here it is, stuck on that post right there. It just came loose when I tried to unplug the situation wire harness thing here. So let me get another lead on there and try to get this to work again. Parts car for the win. I cut this off of here. Let me splice this together real quick. I repaired a break in one of the wires. Now I have my code reader working. It says the driver's side airbag has a short circuit, driver's airbag open circuit. So I'm going to replace the airbag and see if that fixes my problem. Still had the error code, so I changed the airbag. I'm going to read the codes. It says I have two codes: driver's side airbag, driver's side airbag. So I'm going to try to clear these codes real quick. And it says they have been erased. So I'm going to cut the scanner off. Go start the car, see if the airbag light stays off. I don't have all this stuff together yet. No airbag light. How about that? Bad airbag. Time to take a lunch break. All right, back at it. Let's get this car up, see if we can find this power steering leak. We thought maybe this thing had a power steering line leak, but both of those power steering lines are dry. Trying to get an angle on them so you can see them. One of them is under this bar. Do. Oh, there it is. As you can see, that one is bone dry, and the one above it is also dry. So if both of my power steering lines are dry, there would be a drop of oil on the edges of them if they were leaking. No oil on the edges of them. So this oil is coming from somewhere else, and it may be power steering fluid. Not 100% sure. It could be engine oil, depending on what kind of engine oil is used. We got oil all over the bottom of this pan. Oil on the bottom of this oil filter. And this IPD pan's letting that oil run down off the back of the rack area. But up here, on the bottom of this bracket, is oil. I don't think that oil could be coming out of the timing belt cover and getting on that. So I'm not sure where that's coming from unless the power steering pump's leaking. Let's pull this timing cover, see if there's any oil leaking in there. I don't really see that either one of these cam seals are leaking. Maybe this one a little bit. I don't think it's leaking enough to cause that oil down there. Let me drop this metal pan down and see if I can find a source of oil leak up here. There's a slim chance that this PCV part could be leaking a lot. Let's check it out. there was very slight wetness on this return hose right here, and this return hose pivots a little bit. Turn the clamp, tighten a little bit more. Maybe that clamp is not securing that all the way tight. I come under the vehicle, and there is one drop of fluid on here, but there's a lot of fluid over here. And I can't tell if it's engine oil or power steering fluid. It looks like engine oil, but I don't know where engine oil would be coming from over here unless it's coming off of that PCV oil trap box. Usually when that happens, there's more oil on the pan, but there is oil on the pan. So I'm gonna dry this up, start the car and idle this engine for a while and see if I can find a drop of fluid somewhere. Most of this oil up here looks like it may be coming off this oil filter. This oil filter is not hand tight. I can still move that. But back there, that's definitely a drop of red fluid, like power steering fluid. So I wonder if this steering rack is now leaking. The bottom of that boot looks wet. So my guess is we got a power steering rack leaking. You can see from this angle, again, those lines look very dry. However, there's wetness on the bottom part of this boot. So chances are this rack is leaking. I could pull this boot loose and double check. So let me do that. If there's fluid in this boot, that's a leaking rack. To my surprise, the boot is not on the rack properly, but I'm gonna cut that zip tie and pull it back. I pulled the boot back and fluid is dripping out of that rack. So that's where our leak is. I just got what I consider a lot of oil on the bottom of that PCV thing. The PCV has an oil trap box, that lower hose connector. When that thing is not on good or genuine Volvo, that thing leaks. And I consider that a lot of oil there. We are done for the yellow for the night. We're going to keep an eye on that oil leak, and we're going to put some power steering stop leak in the system to hopefully stop the power steering from leaking. So we're clocking out, and we're going to get to work on Lemonade. We're going to put a backup camera in here, which includes another camera, because this camera and backup camera is different with this new system I got. So this is what we're going to go with. Oh, it has Wi-Fi. That means we could clock some extra stuff. Whoop, whoop. Decided to put my hole right there, and it kicked over to the right a little bit, but it came in under the trim, kind of right in there. Right in there. I'll stick the camera line through. I used a 1/4-inch bit to drill a hole. It kicked because of something in there, but it went through the metal as 1/4-inch, and this should fit through there. So let me go ahead and put that through there. Now I'm gonna put some kind of gasket or silicone to block the rest of that hole so water don't be getting in there. And my cable came through here somewhere. There it is right there. And I'm gonna pull it around probably through here and get it away from that latch mechanism. I'm gonna run it along here. I'm gonna run it up here. I'm gonna run it through that garment, into the sleeve area, and then I'm gonna run it along the ceiling there. I removed this trim piece from here, poked a hole in that seal, pushed the wire through there, pulled this gasket out, put a hole Actually, I didn't put a hole in there. I just pushed it in that gasket where the water line's coming through. Then I fed it up through here. So I could either come out there. I'm gonna have to come out there because I'm too big to come through there. So let me bring it out here and put it through that gasket. Put these two gaskets in. I'm gonna make sure I got enough wire to feed this down here through this plug and into my connector here, because I'm gonna come down along here. I could also try to feed that thing in here and come down this hole and through here, but that looks too difficult. Come down through there. That might work though, but I'm not gonna do that. Here I am. The wire's coming out of here, going through here, plugged in here, going through here. I got it taped along there, going through that gasket, going through that gasket, going through that gasket, behind here, dropping in here. Now I'm gonna start taping it over there and running it up the inside of this headliner, all the way to the front. Before you put this panel back up, make sure you have all 4 of these clips, and then make sure you have all the clips for that lower panel. We are clocking in. We're gonna work on this S60R, so I'm gonna get this car out, bring it in, and figure out what I need to do with it. Let me find out what we're gonna do with this. I think it's got some kind of rubber gasket sticking out of the hood. Not sure what that's about. It's missing these corner pieces here. It's got a piece falling off the dash there. This trim looks okay. It's got an SRS light. This trim is off. Maybe that's it. Dang, somebody put a windshield in here and added a bunch of extra goop there. Hope that don't bother nothing. Let me find out what we gotta do. About to put this molding back on this S60 so that it doesn't fall off. The first 3 tabs you see here, or posts, have these clips on them. I'm pretty sure they're oriented. I'll have to see how they're oriented. Let me take one out and show you what I think. I'm pretty sure they're oriented like this on here, and once you get the trim on there, you break this tab off. So let me put those 3 there. So that's how it's oriented when it's on. If you see it, see these trim pieces have an angle in them. The side on the window is higher. So you want the higher side on the window. The lower side is on the outside. Set it on there like that. It's got a little slot. You put that tab in that slot. You slide it up until it is in place. Now it has this is kind of a guide to keep it straight. And once you get the molding locked on there, you break that off. But if you look there, this side on the window barely clears the window. This side over here is down a little tighter, and that side's going to sit down in there. Then you have this white one. It goes on that same angle. This one, it locks in this way, slides down on there, put it on there, push that in, and it'll lock in place. The high side against the windshield, the low side on the car. These kind of go the same way. They got an angle. The high side goes toward the roof, the low side toward the outside of the car. You see the channel there, so you hook them in there and you slide them forward. Lock them in. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So lock all those in like that. On the other side, they may push on and slide back. On this side, they push on and slide forward. Do 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 do. Not sure what this metal piece is for. Probably for mounting roof racks or something. But anyway, we got the 3 yellow, the white, and then the blacks. This is the part number for the ones across the top. This is the part number for the white one here. And this is the part number for these 3 here. All right, we're gonna set this in place and snap it on. This one fits in there. So you slide that down in there until it stops. Okay, the whole thing slid back a little bit. So you wanna make sure that this trim is not slid back too far like it is. So slide this forward so that it's even, this piece even with the top of the glass. Oh, I went too far. You slide that down a little bit. I'm gonna put that even with the glass there. Well, heck, it's higher on this side, so let's see how this turns out. It's too low. I'm gonna put this with the top of the glass here. That's about right. I'm gonna hold this and slide this under there. On this side, that's what you have. You got about a 1/2 inch there. And this piece is actually a little bit higher than that. So this falls in that gap there. I don't think there's a trim piece missing there, but it may be. And that comes all the way down to here, the front of the car. Let me pick that up just a little bit more on that side. Let me lower the trunk down to see where it falls here. I think that's a good spot there. It seems like a big gap there. And that's a good size gap there. Let me hold this here and see how this piece falls. Yeah, I would say I'm gonna pick that up just a little bit. I want this piece to be even in that space there. Let me ride this up just a little bit so that it tucks in there. And this piece will tuck just under this fender a little bit and not leave a point sticking out there. Over here, this edge is just under, and there's a rubber piece that goes here that's missing on both sides. So I'm sure when I snap this down on here, it's going to roll that down just a little bit more, but I'm going to leave this so that it's right here. So let me bump this up just a little bit more. I'm surprised this piece is up so far. Let me lock that in there. As I snap these in, I'm kind of rolling them over. I'm pushing this over, make sure I got it over the edge of the clip. I push it down and then I roll it down and snap it in place. So see how that fell down just now? Pull it in. Do the same thing on this one. Push it over, get it to fall down, and pull it down, rolling it down. All right, just work your way all the way down and you should be good to go. I didn't check my trim before I went down, but I have a clip in there. I need to get that clip out of there before I lock that one in. So let me get that out of there. And this old trim piece indeed was angled, like I said. The high side toward the middle of the car, the low side near the edge. And there it is. It's locked in all the way down. That rubber is just touching that nut there. Little bit tucked under there. Like I said, if you had this rubber piece here, it would cover that. I broke all these tabs off. This thing is good to go. Nice and firm in here. There's usually a little bit more rubber grommet in here that is evidently rotted off of these trim pieces. I'm just going to give an overview to what I'm about to do with this vehicle. So I've purchased several parts for people. I'm going to take these roof rails. I'm going to take these 2 fog lights. A couple of grills in there. These are really cheap. You can still get these like $7 a piece on the Volvo site. This one's broke, so I don't know if we'll get that one, but we'll see if this one's broke too. Yeah, this one's broke too, so we're gonna leave these. Then we're gonna get the steering rack from under here, and we're gonna get the rocker panels from the vehicle. And keep moving. I also was getting the hood from here, even though I see this one's got a little dent in it, but that's superficial. The hood is in pretty good shape and the paint's not peeling. I got a car in Albuquerque that could use this hood, so let me work on getting that hood as well. I might have to swing back through here for the hood because I don't have the capacity to take the hood right now. Once my computer boots up, I'm going to scan this car, figure out why it's got a SRS light, and try to correct that. Well, this is amazing. Somebody put coilovers on and they put them on the wrong side. They put the right one on the left and the left one on the right. This anti-sway bar end link is supposed to be on the back side of it, and that cord to hold the ABS wire should be on the back side of it. And they got them mixed up somehow. Installed them and kept on going. People are amazing. I am done getting stuff off of that red wagon. Now I'm going to rotate the tires on lemonade. Next, I'm going to place the headlight bulbs in my vehicle. Man, these things are so dim. Sometimes my wife asks me if I even have my lights on. Let me show you what they look like before, and I'll do a before and after a comparison with these things. I have newer bulbs in my assembly, and it looks like these are 9006. So I have these, which are 9006. You can see there, HB4s. But it appears that these are 6500K. I normally put 4500K in mine, but let's see how these work for me. And as you can see, these came from Oxido. It's an LED light kit. They supply you with gloves so you don't mess up your bulbs, zip ties, and O-rings. And here are the bulb assemblies. They have a little ballast in each one. So you take these bulbs, and they should be keyed exactly like the bulbs you removed. And as you can see, it is keyed the same. So these should just plug and play. In most applications, you are not going to have space to put your cord, your plug, and your ballast. But in this one, I did. Now, these things have a fan on them to keep them cool. So it's best if you put a hole in the back of your cap and put some little foam or something in there to prevent water from getting in there, but that will allow your light assembly to vent. I'm gonna leave these off for now until I modify this back cap so that it can get the venting that it needs. Let's go and turn on the lights and see the difference. This is the difference just sitting here static. See how white that is and how orange or yellow that is? You definitely want brighter lights. One thing you want to be careful with is that your vehicle is designed to keep the pattern under control so it don't blind oncoming traffic. And the lenses on my Volvo, they have segments designed in there to keep the lights aimed properly and stops the beam from shattering and scattering in a bad pattern. So there should be no issues with oncoming traffic. And I can already see the fan turning with the lights on. I have both of them in. I'm gonna read the instructions and see if it's okay to go ahead and put the caps on the back of these lights since everything fit in there. I'll let you know what I find out and let you know how they road test. I'm gonna replace this bushing. This one is sliding out, probably aftermarket. I got a Volvo bushing over there. Tired of this thing moving out. I've set it in twice. With this tool that Swedish Car Parts should have available soon, 11 minutes all the way. We are done for the day. About to part out of here. We are out. I read in the instructions that these lights need to be clocked at 12 and 6. This one is clocked at 1 and 7. The other one on the passenger side is clocked at 10 and 4. So I need to remove those bulbs, make the adjustment they recommend in the instructions so these lights can be proper. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @RobertDIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message, or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the more link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.